Larry Kelley, Precinct 5. I have a motion, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, you may proceed.
I move to dismiss.
Second. Motion is made to dismiss and seconded. You have 5 minutes to speak to your motion.
Yes, folks, I know I'm a lightning rod, and I know I probably should have chosen the other option of getting rid of an article and move to refer it back to a committee, such as we did last week with Article 42, which I thought was the right move to do then. But I thought to myself, well, who would I refer this back to? I mean, planning and conservation wouldn't want to touch it because they're going to be voting on it in their official capacity, hopefully fairly soon, when this article moves forward the way most development in town should move forward. Oops, there goes the iPhone. And then I thought, and actually the Conservation Commission did have a shot at it last week or 2 weeks ago, and they chose not to take a position on it one way or the other, which of course was the smart thing for them to do. So that left me with the select board, and we've heard that they voted 4-1 against this, so they don't want it referred back to them. Ms. Stein maybe, but the 4 out of 5 don't want it. And the Finance Committee voted 6-0 not to recommend this article, and we just heard this presentation. So obviously they wouldn't want it referred back to them. So the only thing I'm left with is move to dismiss. And that's the main reason to dismiss this is because, as you heard repeatedly from the Finance Committee, it's fatally flawed because of the value. And I just want to read for you a second from Andy Steinberg. He put it on the town meeting list serve over the weekend, but some people don't read it all that closely, I guess. So I just want to read you 1 or 2 sentences, and there's no way you could have taken that memo out of context. Mr. Steinberg, speaking for himself as a town meeting member, not as a member of the Finance Committee, not as the chair of the Finance Committee, but interestingly enough, he is a resident of historic Cushman Village. He said, quote, "The article is limited by the maximum value set forth in it, 1.2 million. Hence, the impossibility. The select board could not acquire these rights for the amount the article would make available." That means the article is flawed. And let's talk about value, shall we? We have a purchase and sale contract for $6.5 million from a private entity, Landmark Properties. We have another private entity, W.D. Coles, Inc., that wishes to sell it to them for $6.5 million. So what do you think the value of that property is? In America, the value of something, of anything, is what a willing buyer is willing to pay. End of story. So the value of that property is $6.5 million. Let's forget that for a second. Put that aside. Let's do some comparative analysis, shall we? Let's just forget the contract. We have Cherry Hill that we bought in 1987 for $2.2 million, 90 acres, 90. The property we're talking about now is 154 acres. And we bought it for $2.2 million in 1987. 2.2 million today would be worth $4.4 million. And Cherry Hill is half the size of this property. So do that math. Amherst College, some of you may remember, outbid Barry Roberts 4 or 5 years ago for property right next to their golf course, which does way better than the Cherry Hill golf course does. And they paid $4.3 million for 30 acres of property, 1/5 the size of the property we are now talking about. So do the math. Even if you just let the assessor compare those two deals to what you're trying to do here, 1.2 million is just not even in the ballpark, not even, nowhere near close. And then there's the other option that W.D. Coles can develop by right, they don't need any permission, 15 building lots. Well, last week, don't you remember, we did a deal to conserve land on Southeast Street, the Rock Farm, and we flipped 2 properties, 2 parcels for $132,000 each. So there's 15 of them that can be developed out there in North Amherst. Do that math. That's over $2 million. And then there'd still be 95 acres left over, which is still the size of Cherry Hill Golf Course. So this is ridiculous as far as the money goes. You cannot offer somebody $1.3 million for something that's worth $6.5 million, no matter how you cut the cake. And the one line that I loved from the Finance Committee report that we just heard a minute ago, and I'll repeat it, I think I got it perfect here, it opens us up to unsavory consequences. That's kind of a word I'd use, right? Well, That was the Finance Committee that told you that in their official report. This will be the biggest mistake you've made in your entire career as a town meeting member if you take that property. Thank you.